Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals a little bit about the fact that cardio does not kill gains. This is a ridiculous myth, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're not following or subscribed, please do so, and if you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate it so much. Thank you. All right, here's the thing, guys. I recently added a ton of cardio back in a few months ago. You guys are still watching me do like a pause bench with 350. I'm 48 years old. I did a flat back pause bench with 350. You guys see me squat well into the 400s, pull over 500. I do weighted pull-ups and stuff, all my workouts. Again, I haven't lost any gains doing this, My squatting has been more of a challenge. I haven't really lost gains with adding it all in, and this is stuff that I've done at different time periods. I've had phases where I didn't do cardio, and I've had phases where I've done hours of it a day, less cardio. Right now, currently I'm trying to jog about an hour a day. Training days, my 3 lifting days, not always as much, but I do other like calisthenic stuff on all my non-lifting days. People are like, you're only lifting 3 days a week. Well, yeah, that's all my barbell stuff. I do pull-ups and stuff on my off days, just body weight stuff, but the thing is, people have this idea that cardio kills gains, and there's just no evidence of that happening. There used to be a lot of concerns with cross interference, but then it turns out a lot of that's been really unwarranted. Now, I don't generally advocate, doing cardio before you lift, and I know people who do it and are just fine. They're jacked, they're strong. I personally am not a fan of that, but as far as afterwards goes, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think a great example of that would be my bro Alex Viada. I'm not sure where he's at with all his stuff now, but he was doing ultras, looking jacked. He was over 200 pounds ripped, doing ultra marathons, triathlons, and stuff like that, with like a 700-pound deadlift. In his, I think, late 30s at that point. And he wrote the book, The Hybrid Athlete. So we see this stuff, and I've seen guys like even Greg Knuckles in his Science and Strength blog, who is a, pretty well-known power lifter, who does a lot of science material, and he's pointed that out too. When you start adding large amounts of cardio, you will see a drop in performance. Okay, particularly for whatever muscles are involved, you're doing jogging or whatever. Your leg strength may decline temporarily. But I've seen him even point out the long-term evidence is that the increased fitness level from it will probably improve your recovery. Meaning as you adapt and as you get used to it, right? As you adapt and you get used to it, there may be an adaptation process, and there's going to be a point sometimes where, performance is going to decline just a little bit, and then you're thinking you're losing gains. But as you acclimate to the cardio that you added in, especially if you're doing significant amounts of it, what eventually happens, right, your body adapts to it. And once it does, and you get used to the cardio, assuming you're getting sufficient sleep, sufficient food, all these things, you're going to find that the extra recovery is going to help you recover session to session better. The better conditioning, you're going to be better at clearing waste products. You're going to not get out of breath between sets. Like, your sessions are going to do better. Now, that's also been studied, and they found that it doesn't actually improve the performance. I saw some stuff looking at that a while back, but it feels better, meaning you don't get as winded during your training, and set to set. It seems like your heart rate and breathing comes down quicker if you are in shape. So in a lot of ways, it absolutely helps your gains. Right? It absolutely helps your gains. But the thing with it is, it's definitely not really hurting them. And I think a lot of this misnomer comes from the fact that a lot of bodybuilders have historically used lots of cardio to cut. They're losing weight. They're in contest prep. And sometimes they feel like they're shrinking a little bit, or they can't lift as heavy or train as hard during their contest prep. But I think people are confusing dieting with the cardio. Meaning, yes, if the cardio is creating a large calorie deficit, right? If the cardio is creating a large calorie deficit, then of course You may lose a little bit of muscle due to the calorie deficit, but it's not the cardio causing it. It's the fact that you're in a deficit losing weight. Okay, so really, what should the fear be? The fear shouldn't be cardio. The fear would be, well, a large calorie deficit could cost me muscle. Well, yeah, of course it can, but don't we know this already? When you do a really big cut, if you need to cut a large amount for any reason, shouldn't you expect you're probably going to lose a little bit of your gains? It shouldn't be a lot. Like, it shouldn't be dramatic, but you may lose a bit, because of the size of the deficit in the cut. Now, if you're cutting really slow, we don't lose gains with that either. It's possible in a small deficit to make gains. We've seen this demonstrated in athletes. We've seen it demonstrated in the lab, right? Totally possible. Totally possible and doable, and it's been demonstratively proven. So if you're doing just you're doing a decent amount of cardio, but it's only creating a very, very small deficit, you can literally still make gains with it. And again, we need to understand that cardio is not going to hurt your gains. In the long term, it's going to facilitate better recovery, better fitness, right? If we're healthier and we're fitter in general, we're in a better position to gain muscle. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that if you have a pretty high energy turnover, what else does this allow? This allows for more food, higher quality nutrition, right? And if we can get more quality food in, we can get strong, more robust insulin responses. We can get more antioxidants in, which again will reduce oxidative stress. Okay, these are all things that create a more anabolic environment, right? So being really, really fit is going to help your gains. And on top of that, you're going to feel better. And I think this is a point people miss too. When you're jacked and you're out of shape, yeah, you still feel way, way, way better than before you started lifting, right? But you don't feel as good as if you're actually in shape. So it's also, it's not just about health, it's about a quality of life, it's about a function thing. So if you're at whatever given amount of muscle and strength, if you don't do any cardio and you're not cardiovascularly fit, you're just not going to feel as good. You're going to have as high of a quality of life as you will if you are fit and actually do conditioning and cardio work. And again, this is something that anyone who's done it, we all realize this. It's pretty much universally true. So again, people are really fearing the loss of gains, and I think in some cases it could be coming from a point of laziness. But I don't think that's always the case. I think oftentimes it's people actually believing the myths, and a lot of this nonsense comes out of the hardcore bodybuilding world, and you can't use that to follow all your information.